Thanks for calling the Psychic Readers Network. Let's see what the cards have in your future. I'm pulling the fraud card. That means you are going to be conned, but let's see by whom. Oh, I pulled the bad Jamaican accent card. Do you know anyone who speaks with a bad Jamaican accent? No? Let me pull another card. Oh, this isn't good. It's the Miss Cleo card. Miss Cleo, on this week's This Was a Thing.
Remember Furby and the Lion King, Fuburini babies and World Wrestling, the Macarena, the Chevy Chase show, Showgirls, and the Rachel haircut. This was a thing bop. This was a thing bop. Bop. Also was a thing bop. Was a thing bop. This was a thing bop.
Hi, I'm Ray.
And I'm Rob.
And you're listening to This Was a Thing, the podcast that dives deep into the cultural happenings of yesteryear.
On today's episode, we are looking at TV psychic Miss Cleo.
Ooh.
Now, this was a thing because for an entire generation of 90s kids who optimistically believed in the myth that no one on TV would lie to you, Miss Cleo was the person who, with a phony Jamaican accent, shattered your dreams. The card don't lie, but Miss Cleo does.
Phony?
Yeah, am I breaking it to you? I'm so sorry. In the mid-90s, you couldn't turn on your TV and not see Miss Cleo, a shaman of sorts, with her strong Jamaican accent sitting behind tarot cards and crystal balls, encouraging you to call her to get a glimpse into your future. Often when your parents were asleep, you would turn on the TV, and there she would be, dispensing advice in a pre-recorded 30-minute infomercial, begging you to call and letting you know it only cost $3.99 a minute. And honestly, what is $3.99 for knowing your future?
Good point.
Raymond, 4 out of 10 people believe in psychics. Are you one of those 4 out of 10?
Can you guess?
I'm not a psychic.
Okay, well.
So the answer is no.
No.
And 4 out of 10, that was enough for those in the 90s who wanted to know how the OJ trial would turn out and if Ross and Rachel would ever get together. Now, I want to walk you through what kind of psychics you saw on 90s TV at this time. There was some that were staples of talk shows, like Sylvia Browne. Do you remember Sylvia Browne?
Oh, yeah.
She had those long-ass fingernails, and she looked like that asshole smoker who managed a diner in Queens. What I loved about her was that every year, Sylvia would go on the Montel Williams show and say, "This is the year the Pope will die." And every year the man didn't die. Now, you can laugh at her, except for the fact she did a lot more harm than good. She would lie to grieving families in order to make a buck.
I retract that laugh, Sylvia.
Here is a little bit of Sylvia in action on the Montel Williams show.
Because he was picked up in a blue-colored sedan by a guy by the name of Michael.
But she was terribly wrong about the most important detail of all.
Is he still with us?
Thankfully, Sean Hornbeck was found last week alive and well.
Now, she was a malicious, horrible person, I think. But then there were some nice ones. There was Kenny Kingston.
Oh, Kenny Kingston.
He called everyone Sweet Spirit.
Hello, Sweet Spirit.
How are you, Sweet Spirit? But my all-time favorite of psychics was probably a guy who is literally the queen that he is, and it is Walter Mercado.
Walter Mercado.
Who only appeared on Spanish-speaking networks. He literally looked like Liberace and Prince had given birth to a child, and the surrogate was Sally Jesse Raphael without her glasses. There's a great documentary about Walter Mercado on Netflix called Mucho, Mucho Amor.
So good.
He's such a cool guy. He was my favorite. To stand amongst all of these folks, Miss Cleo had to be something very special, and with that Marguerite from the Golden Girls accent, she did indeed. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, Golden Girls, Marguerite, she comes, she puts a curse on the girls.
The rest of this episode, it's just going to be about Marguerite and her inspiration for Miss Cleo.
Paula Kelly, she was great. Okay, but how did this woman ever emerge, Miss Cleo, onto your 43-inch zenith in the first place? Well, it all sprung from an unexpected psychic rivalry. The irony that no one could see this coming.
Wow.
In the late 1980s, cable television needed to fill programming, especially late at night. So they began these things called infomercials, which would be commercials that ran about 30 to 60 minutes in length. The most iconic of these commercials, and one I know we will cover at some point in this series, was called Amazing Discoveries.
The following special program, Amazing Discoveries, is a paid advertisement presented in its entirety by Media Arts International. Coming up next on Amazing Discoveries, we'll show you how to turn on the human calculator in you. Now, here's the host of Amazing Discoveries, Mike Levy.
Welcome.
Mike Levy looks like Jerry Lewis in the 70s with his glasses, and he's wearing a patchwork sweater, multiple colors and squares, and he has, it is just so perfect.
And nowadays, you still see infomercials all the time. Like the Magic Bullet is a big one.
Air fryer. So other companies see the success of these Amazing Discovery infomercials as their way in. And while the product market had been cornered, what else could people throw lots of money at in the early 90s? Whores.
Besides the whores. Well, one goes to a psychic during periods of uncertainty and after the fall of communism and the AIDS and drugs epidemic and the Iraq War.
No more whores.
No more. People would love to know when all of this would be over. They want to know, Ray. They want to know. So enter the Psychic Friends Network in 1991. Now, the Psychic Friends Network was not an actual network per se. It was an infomercial, usually played late at night on various television stations, hosted by pre-Twitter famous singer Dionne Warwick and psychic Linda Georgian. And it was the most successful infomercial of all time.
Wow.
Here's a clip of Dionne and Linda talking.
All right. Now, I happen to know about this psychic network and how it works. But there are a lot of people sitting here this afternoon, as well as those who are looking at us on TV, who don't have a clue. Why don't you kind of bring them up to date on what's happening?
Okay, Dionne. We've assembled an amazing group of psychics and made them available 24 hours a day through the Psychic Friends Network. Let's have a member of our audience give the Psychic Network a call.
All right.
Needless to say, everyone wants to call the Psychic Network and find out what's going on. The gag, and that's the deal for you boomers, because I just learned that one. I'm watching RuPaul this season, so I'm kind of learning some new words. The gag was you could always be connected to a specific psychic who knew you, so it wasn't like you consistently had to start over with a new psychic.
It's like a therapist.
It's like a therapist. And it gets results, friends. Listen to this typical 90s story about how two people calling the Psychic Friends Network found love with each other.
Todd Weston is one of Linda Georgian's regular clients, and today he only wanted to know about his love life. As usual, Linda was there to help him through this moment of crisis. Linda saw that Todd would soon meet someone very special in the produce section of his local supermarket on a Saturday afternoon. Linda saw the girl as having long brown hair and that somehow stars and moons would be involved. Todd hung up the phone excited.
Saturday afternoon, produce section of your supermarket. That's what Linda the Psychic is predicting for this man.
So very specific.
Very specific.
One of Todd's friends was giving a pool party, and Todd was really enjoying himself. It was his turn to make the drinks. There wasn't much orange juice left, and so Todd was elected to go to the market and buy some fresh oranges to juice. He wasn't happy about leaving the party, but someone needed to get the juice. Todd was anxious to get the oranges and return to the party, but Linda Georgian's prediction was about to come true.
Oh my God, this is fucking crazy. I know. Okay, let me guess. I bet. Okay. So he needs to go get oranges, and that's in the produce, and he's at his friend's house with people there. So it's probably a Saturday. Okay, so that's 2 of 3, and then so he's got to go get oranges at the produce section. Hopefully, he doesn't stop at a farmer's market or something. But okay, so he goes and gets oranges, and then he's gonna meet a brunette gal.
Let's see if you're right,
Oh my
Ray.
God, I'm so excited.
Perusing the fresh squeezed orange juice was Todd's dream girl. Todd moved in and tried to strike up a conversation. Not knowing what to say, he told Christy of Linda Georgian's prediction. After all, it was Saturday afternoon. They were in the produce section. But the real clincher was the stars and the moons. Christy was wearing stars and moons earrings. Todd brought more than orange juice back to the party, and the rest is Psychic Friends history.
Now, between 1993 and 1994, they aired more than 12 100,000 times. Yep. And at one point, they were shelling out $500,000 a week to buy airtime on cable stations. The Psychic Friends Network.
Oh, my God.
And it was money well spent, my friend, because at its peak, Psychic Friends was bringing in as much as $125 million a year. Most of it through its infomercials.
Oh, my God.
Each call was $3.99 per minute, which is about $7.50 today.
Okay, that's a deal.
And the goal for the Psychic Friends Network was to tell you, obviously, what your future was going to be. But their goal, personal goal, was to keep you on the phone for as long as possible through flattery and positivity, all the while raking in $3.99 per minute.
The name starts with a O, right? O?
Oh.
Does it start? No. Q. The name starts with an R. R.
And the second letter of that name is a Q.
W.
So eventually this network will go bankrupt, but we don't know that until 1998. How did nobody predict this, especially Dionne?
They were cooking the books. They knew it was coming.
And so because the Psychic Network is on a downward slide, South Florida businessman Stephen Fetter and his cousin, Peter Stolz, decided to get in on the fame. And in 1997, they placed an ad in Florida seeking phone operators for their Mind and Spirit Network, i.e. the Psychic Readers Network. And in walks Miss Cleo.
Ooh.
Wagwan babies, it's me, Miss Cleo. I want to thank you for allowing me to introduce you to the wonders of the tarot. I'm glad to see you have taken the first step towards a new world of knowledge and empowerment.
So Miss Cleo was a young black woman who wore a trademark headdress. She wore colorful robes and chunky jewelry, and more than anything, a questionable accent. And she wanted to help you see the future. So Fetter and Stoltz decide that this woman, Miss Cleo, needs to be the face of their new operation, and they create commercials, not infomercials.
Oh, yeah.
That will compete with Dionne. Now, these short, memorable bursts, they're better served for the short attention span versus the epically long Dionne Warwick
attention span.
Yes. It also helped that Miss Cleo had a tagline.
Don't go blindly through life. Let me use the power of the tarot to show you the way. Call me now for your free reading.
Call 1-800-355-3765.
Call me now for your free reading.
I said that all the fucking time.
Right? All right. So why would you choose her over Dionne? Well, psychics are humans. Therefore, they're prone to make mistakes. But the cards, they never lie.
No.
Cards would never lie. Here are some of Miss Cleo's greatest clips.
Who asked you to go out of town? The stupid young one or the married one?
The married one.
That's what I thought. Don't go, you hear me?
If you want him to believe that it's over, then you gotta stop accepting the booty calls at 2 a.m. in the morning. You understand?
Yeah.
Could you tell me what type of direction is my life headed into?
Last 4 nights, your feelings have been hurt, so you've been up all night.
Yes.
You haven't been, and this is around a relationship. You know, people have been criticized and jabbed at and talked about throughout the ages for having different beliefs. And apparently I am no exception. Although it is a constant challenge, I will continue. I will not allow them to stop me. I will teach as a shaman and help those who seek the knowledge.
She's going to just tell you the truth, right? And then here she is on the Jenny Jones show before Jenny Jones got canceled for being involved in someone's murder, and I'm sure we'll cover that on an episode at some point.
Cancel culture at it again.
All the way. Please welcome shaman and author Miss Cleo.
I was just wondering if you see anything for me, like towards my education, because I'm kind of torn between things.
Give me your birth date first, Mommy, including the year.
January 7th, 82.
Oh, my goodness. Well, you can never make a decision easy. You can't go shopping. You can't go supermarket. You don't make no decision easy. Never.
True.
But, yeah, she's very true. It's very difficult for her to do that. What me want you to
The other thing about Miss Cleo that hopefully we're all noticing is that she has no problem leading with negativity, which is you're not good enough. you're lazy, you don't want to hear who the father of the baby is going to be, and that makes people believe, well, she must be telling the truth because she's not there's no shiny varnish on it.
Yeah.
There's no you're going to go to the supermarket and you're going to go pick up a girl with oranges.
I mean, in the clip that she's telling about the baby and stuff, she is leaning in her chair like, I cannot believe this. Oh my God, I don't have time for this.
Now, these commercials were so successful that they decided maybe it is time to give Miss Cleo her own infomercial. So here's a clip from her infomercial.
Why pay $4.99 a minute for psychic advice when we'll give it to you for less than $1 a minute? That's right, less than $1 a minute.
And I should tell you, friends, that on the screen it says for first 3 minutes of each call is free, and then it's $4.99 per minute.
How long did it
thereafter.
take you to get to Miss Cleo?
What a great question, because that's going to come up a little bit later,
Okay.
Ray. And of course, there were skeptics, and here's a skeptic talking to Miss Cleo.
Your name?
Danelle Green.
Danelle, what's your question?
I was just wondering, there's a lot of skeptics in the audience, and though we see and feel that you're real and you have this compassion for us, like she was saying, I was wondering how you do explain to somebody, even after they're read, they're still skeptic about it. How do you tell them that you're really telling them the truth? I mean, how do you
know
make
what's
them
funny?
believe?
I never have to. Because you know what? They come back day later, 2 days later, 2 weeks later. Tell me everything!
So under the Feder and Stoltz business plan that they've created, which placed Miss Cleo as the front person to the business, Miss Cleo is the business is Miss Cleo. In the late 90s, she was just absolutely everywhere, and you just had to wonder, where will she show up next?
Well, you never know where Miss Cleo is going to show up. I'm on TV, I'm on the radio, and sometimes, like today, I'm on TV while I'm on the radio with my friends here at Q100 in Atlanta. You never know where I'll show up next. Maybe your town. I'm here to do what I do best, and you know how I do it. Ask me a question and I'll tell you the truth. I can promise you that, babies. The spirits speak to me as clearly as I'm speaking to you. And with their help and my tarot cards, I'll provide you with the answers you seek. The lines are...
I'm at your house. I'm in your closet. Go look in your garage. I'm in your desk drawer in your cubicle at work.
Now, I want you to notice, and you can't see this, but we're gonna do something with Ray. Ray, can you see the bottom of the screen underneath the phone number?
First 3 minutes of call are free. Must be 18 for entertainment only.
What's missing?
How much it is per minute.
Great, Ray. Remember that, because that's going to play a part a little bit later on. Hey friends, hope you're enjoying the show. If you are, could you do us a favor? After you listen to today's episode, open up your podcast app and leave us a review. Please. The more reviews we get, the more people will discover us, and the more people that discover us, the less lost we'll feel.
You're good, buddy. It's okay. Look, nothing has ever been easier to do. Just go ahead and grab a pen real quick. It's okay. We'll wait. Don't worry.
Okay, head on over to your podcast app, click those 3 dots in the lower right-hand corner, click Go to Show, scroll down till you see ratings and reviews, then leave us some stars and a comment or two so our parents know that it was worth all the tuition that they spent.
And if you really love us, head on over to patreon.com and send us some money, and in return, you will get access to merch, special episodes, bonus content, pictures of me shirtless.
Okay, that's patreon.com. Search This Was a Thing and help us out. But you know what? You've already helped us out today by listening to us, and we can't tell you how much we appreciate that. So thank you.
Thank you.
So now, of course, Miss Cleo was so popular, she was ripe for parody. Here is the wonderful Dave Chappelle doing his interpretation of Miss Cleo.
Dave Chappelle's educated guest line. Dave Chappelle is not a psychic. He is merely a racist who believes that stereotypes dictate our futures.
My boyfriend says my butt's too big. Why would he say that? My old boyfriend liked it just fine.
Okay, have you gained weight?
No?
Okay, so your current boyfriend is white?
Oh my gosh, yes!
Yeah, and your old boyfriend's black, ain't it?
Oh my God, how did you know that?
And one that was actually happening closer to the time of Miss Cleo was the fantastic Mad TV. This is Deborah Wilson in it as Miss Cleo and Stephanie Weir as her character Leona Campbell, calling Miss Cleo to ask her some questions.
Oh, and we have our very first caller. Hello, caller.
Hello, is this Cleo?
Yes, baby, it is.
Oh, honey, you're the one that can see into the future.
Yes, darling, you got the right Cleo.
Oh, honey, can I ask you a question?
One.
Was you working on September the 10th?
This is an incredibly dark sketch from Mad TV.
Yeah, wow.
But what Miss Cleo couldn't predict, once again, isn't that funny how this all works, was that the network started to get pelted with fraud charges.
No.
Right? So apparently our buddy and his cousin started sending out emails saying, Miss Cleo has a private reading just for you.
Me?
Yep. Take advantage of it now.
Okay.
And then when people called, they found out that they weren't speaking to Miss Cleo, but to her associates, and it seemed that they were all reading from scripts. Here's the gag. Your free call wasn't necessarily free. So the first 3 minutes were, but it was about $3.99 per minute, and most of that time you were giving information, being kept on hold.
You're kidding
Then
me.
the psychic you spoke to was told, like I said, to draw out the conversation before the reading began. So at $3.99 per minute, an hour-long conversation of where you were on hold and had to give your name and talk. It ended up being $239.40. That's for an hour on the phone, which was typical. Or in current day numbers, that was $383.74 for an hour-long conversation with not Miss Cleo. Now, because Miss Cleo was named in these lawsuits, she had to provide a birth certificate. And the birth certificate, much like the cards, never lie. And they told the truth. The truth was that Miss Cleo was Uri Del Harris, née Rie Paris, née Uri Cleomili, née Uri Del Harris, née Uri Paris, née Ray Del Harris, née Cleomili Paris Uri, née Cleomili Harris. You see, Miss Cleo was actually a California native and was the child of wealthy parents, and she spent most of her life in upscale private schools. And
of course.
And where are all the names coming from? Well, you see, she was on the run for embezzlement.
Oh my God.
In 1996, this is right before she makes her first appearance on TV as Miss Cleo, Rie Paris, or Rie Paris, was in Seattle starring in a play she wrote called For Women Only.
She wrote that?
She did. And I know you love that one.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the characters was a Jamaican woman named Cleo.
Shut up.
Now, this play, For Women Only, was being done at the Langston Hughes Center up in Washington, and the center gave her money to pay actors and staff, and guess what? Those actors and staff
didn't get paid.
No. Before she left, she told her cast members she had bone cancer and that her medical costs would prevent her from paying people immediately, but she wrote each of them a letter saying how much she appreciated them, and this is how much I owe you. And when the press came after her and said, hey, is this all this true? Are you not from Jamaica, psychic, blah, blah. She simply said, I am who I say I am. I'm more a shaman, an elder in a community who has visions and gives directions to people in their village. My clients and my students are my village. I take care of this community. If you sit down at my table, you have to take away a lesson and not just learn what is going to happen tomorrow. I also perform weddings, both gay and straight marriages, and house cleansings and blessings. So needless to say, they pulled all the ads because of the fraud charges. Now, she was never charged. The guys were charged. She was never charged.
Interesting.
And it all ended for Miss Cleo. But all hope is not lost. Miss Cleo was not going to give up, and she wouldn't go away. So what happened, though, to Miss Cleo when her tarot cards were confiscated? We're going to tell you right after the break.
Ooh.
This was a thing, this was a thing.
And now, this is a sketch. Coming to the Kravitz Center for the Arts, it's Call Me Now, the Miss Cleo musical. Yes, Miss Cleo is back, and this time she's pulled the smash hit card, because now the story of Rie Del whatever the hell her real name is now an all-singing, all-dancing, all-scamming musical extravaganza. Miss Cleo will steal your hearts and your money with such songs as 1-900-ILLEGAL, The Cards Never Lie, Dionne Warwick is a Bitch, This accent is Jamaican me crazy. If I'm psychic, why couldn't I see this coming? Bad Sylvia Browne. Who wants 2 decks when I got your crystal balls? And of course, call me now. Call me now for your free reading. Call me now. Oh, the card don't like. Call me now for your free reading. Call me now before you die. Starring the entire cast of the Seattle production of 4 Women Only with newcomer Cleo Miss in the title role, Call Me Now is the hit musical that the New York Times calls a musical, and that Variety said it runs 2 hours and 10 minutes. But don't take their word for it. Let's ask some local Florida audiences what they predicted for Call Me Now.
It was fine. The theater was very hot. Very, very hot. I'm on Coumadin. It makes me perspire something awful. Now, I'm waiting for the boy to pick me up in the shuttle to take me back to the complex. He probably forgot. He left me once at a frozen yogurt stand and came back 2 hours later in a different car. Now he was a woman. But gazing gazai, I'm alive. It's fine. I need the air. The theater was very hot. I'm on Coumadin.
Playing March 1st through the 2nd at the Kravitz Performing Arts Center, it's Call Me Now, the Miss Cleo musical. Not even Miss Cleo could predict what a good time you'll have. Thank you. This was a sketch.
So after she was told to get off the air, she moved to Miami and she started a private practice as Miss Cleo, but she had to move to a more suburban area because people kept harassing her, asking her for help and advice. She even had to have a bodyguard. So it didn't matter that it had come out that 1, she wasn't a psychic, 2, she wasn't from Jamaica, and 3, she had been on the run. Nobody really seemed to care. They still wanted advice from her. And then after a few years of hanging out of public view, in 2006, Miss Cleo returned to The Advocate magazine and revealed her whole life story, including the fact that she was gay.
Really?
And when she was very young, she'd been married to a man, but he was gay. And she said, he and I started talking when he was concerned about coming out. He was 16. When he made the decision, I told him I'd be there to support him 100% and embraced his coming out wholeheartedly. It's a different vibe than when I was his age, being raised Catholic in an all-girls boarding school. But he was afraid of nothing, and I thought, I can't be a hypocrite. That boy is going to force me to put my money where my mouth is. I'm as gay as a $2 bill, same as you, she told the interviewer. And I mean no disrespect because I'm gay. And for a long time, long before you were even born, in fact, and in the black community and in the Jamaican community, that's not easy, not at all. As a matter of fact, when I came out publicly, I lost a large portion of my family. It's so difficult. I'm grateful for all you younger folks where it's not that way anymore. But I'm a mom. I have grown children. I'm not sure how old you are, but I'm pretty sure that at least 2 of them are older than you. And it was tough worrying that someone would take your children because of who you are. And The Advocate put her back in the spotlight for a little bit, and she released a CD in 2007 called Convicted for My Beliefs, Confessions of a Voodoo Woman.
Oh, one of my favorites. It's on Spotify.
It is. And she also made a prediction in 2007. She said, this one won't make me popular either, but Obama, it's not going to happen. I love the young man. He's brilliant, but I don't think his time has come. I also don't think that the world is ready for a woman to run this country. So it will be a Republican again. And my money is on Giuliani.
Oh,
he's not perfect and he has some conservative ideas, but he does have some liberal ideas, and he's liked by a significant amount of independents and Democrats. So sorry, Miss Cleo, wrong on all those counts there.
And he did real well in 2008, Giuliani.
He was great. She also appeared in a Grand Theft Auto game.
You must be the big bad man my granddaddy been chatting about. Tell me things about you, when he visits, and about the others who wait for you.
She also appeared in a fantastic documentary in 2014 called Hotline, which was about this time period in 900 numbers. And sadly, in 2016, at the age of only 53 years old, Miss Cleo died of colon cancer.
I remember that.
Right? So what is Miss Cleo's legacy? Well, first of all, Miss Cleo, I think, really gave a face to the idea of no truth in advertising. And we remember her more than any of the aforementioned psychics.
Well, I mean, I really do remember when she died, and it's like one of those things where it's like, I wouldn't normally know when a psychic would die or something like that. But because she was such a prominent person on TV, I mean, yeah.
She was absolutely everywhere. And what was so funny was when you saw her on TV, it was so clear, once again, that it wasn't, she wasn't speaking in an authentic Jamaican accent. And it was clear that she wasn't, quote unquote, I'm using that, psychic. I don't even know if there is such a thing as a real psychic. But people liked her so much and were so charmed by her that they would spend millions of dollars in totality of trying to get their reading from this particular individual.
At least $239.
At least $239. Did you ever call any of these things?
No. I did have a tarot card reading done to me one time in 2004, I think it was, and I'm still waiting for the job offer I was told I was going to receive in October. So,
are you checking your junk mail?
Oh, fuck.
The big thing for her is something that I had mentioned earlier, which was something we're sort of seeing now, which is spokespeople could not be held legally responsible. So even though people are calling to speak to Miss Cleo and Miss Cleo is not taking their phone calls, that's the business doing that. That's not Miss Cleo doing that. So therefore, she is not liable for the Mind and Spirit Network's business practices, which is something you're also seeing a lot today on Fox News when people keep threatening to sue Fox News. Or sue anchor people, they go, you can't sue me, I'm a spokesperson, I'm not the business itself. But this all started with Miss Cleo. Right now, while we're in a quarantine, which is when we're recording these, it seems like so many people all of a sudden bought tarot card decks. One, they want to know their future because quarantine is an uneasy time for a lot of people. But all you have to do is buy the deck from Amazon and a book on what the cards mean, and you too can give tarot card readings.
And what's cool now is I bet you can get even more personalized tarot decks. So, like if you want to get like cool Harry Potter one or a Star Wars one.
Oh, absolutely. What
Marvel
great ideas.
One.
Oh, that's so cool. Do you see any psychics today? The one that keeps coming to my mind is Teresa Caputo, the Long Island medium.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, one of the things that made Miss Cleo more memorable than, say, like a Linda Georgian or Kenny Kingston was she was eccentric.
And she had a look.
And she had a look. And Teresa Caputo.
Oh, boy,
Long
does
Island
she
medium.
have a look.
You know what I love, though, about Teresa Caputo is every time she goes and gives families comfort, she's literally, I'm sitting there, I'm doing a pedicure, and the woman comes in, and she starts doing my French tip, and I say to her, oh, my God, your mother died. And she starts crying. She said, yes, my mother died. And she wants to know, does her mother forgive her? Absolutely. And was it an easy passing? It was. She didn't suffer. No matter, everyone didn't suffer, and everyone forgives everybody. Once I want someone to go to her and be like,
to be honest, my uncle was not a good man. He did a lot of gambling. He made illegal moonshine.
Let me tell you something, because Spirit's talking to me right now, your uncle, and he's saying to me that his death was horrible, and he suffered a lot. And he said he hopes nobody ever suffers as much in death as he suffered.
That makes sense. He was a very weird, odd guy.
Now, he says something about you betraying him and reporting him out to the police for the illegal gambling.
What? No.
Well, he says he doesn't forgive you.
That was my brother.
He doesn't forgive you. And he's going to make sure that you burn in hell. He doesn't forgive you. They hold a grudge in the spirit world.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Anyway, your uncle hates you. So I think today, Miss Cleo would probably be a meme. She'd have an amazing social media account.
Tons of GIFs.
And I would hope that she would be a drag race judge at some point.
Oh, yeah.
So why are we talking about Miss Cleo today? Well, first of all, if you are part of Ray and I's generation, you saw Miss Cleo consistently all the time. Call me now for a free reading was something that you would say consistently, and people would know exactly what you were talking about. Some of us did. Some of us actually did call her.
And I got called.
You got called.
Yeah, because I would tell people to call me now for a free reading, and they took me up on it. And I mean, I just started reading books to them.
Oh, you see, in my community, we say, call me now for a free reading. And I'm like, you're wearing that out? Okay.
Well, two different communities.
Yeah, absolutely. But the big thing I loved about learning about Miss Cleo is that there's more to a person than a sound clip. There's more to a person than what we simply know as she was this fake psychic who got in trouble for being a fake psychic. She led this incredibly interesting life, I think, this idea that she was a gay person at a time when gayness wasn't widely accepted, especially in her community, and that she was on the run a little bit and had kind of the audacity to be like, yeah, I know that I owe people money and I'm doing something illegal, but guess what? Splash me all over television so everyone can recognize me.
That's the craziest part about it all. Is like I was thinking about imagine being one of the people in like that production of For Women Only. Wait a second.
We need our money.
Is that Ray Paris?
Is that Ray Paris? Nay, Yarel Hari? Nay. And what I also liked about Miss Cleo was that she could reinvent herself with the times.
Yeah.
She grabbed a hold of the web. She grabbed a hold of radio. She grabbed a hold of video games, of commercials. She knew exactly where she should target herself to be successful. And I think for somebody who was in a lot of trouble, that's amazing that she was able to reinvent herself. So we are celebrating the life, the legacy of Miss Cleo. Watch the movie Hotline. It's really fascinating. Look into who this person was, how everything came to be. And also it gives us a lot of interesting information about, one, truth in advertising and who is held responsible if they lie. Now, would you like to play a game, Ray?
Oh, yeah. Yes, sorry.
I knew you were going to say that.
This was a thing and now it's a quiz. This was a quiz.
With Mark Schroeder.
We're going to play a game about psychics. Did you know I was going to say that?
I had a feeling.
Yeah, it was an idea.
The cards never lie.
These are just some simple questions about, the future, knowing the future, psychic mediums, everything of and related to that. Here we go. Which of the following terms best describes the feeling that one has lived through the present experience before?
Deja vu.
What'd you say?
Deja vu.
What'd you say?
Deja vu.
What'd you say?
Deja vu.
I feel weird.
How's that Meisner repetition?
Oh, God. Any person claiming to possess the ability to gain information about an object, person, location, or physical event through an extrasensory perception is said to be a what? A pet psychic, a reincarnation, a poltergeist, a clairvoyant.
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 Clairvoyant is correct.
There's a drag queen named Clairvoyant, I would hope. Please welcome to the stage, Clairvoyant. I'm not going to win. Okay.
Where is she?
She knows she's not going to win.
What set of techniques used by psychic mediums involves obtaining information by analyzing a person's behavior, clothing, posture, etc.? Is it crossover reading, cold reading, false awakening, or eavesdropping?
I think it's a cold read.
That is correct. It is a cold read. Also, how you've booked so many good commercials. So congratulations on that.
You gotta just trust your instincts.
Sometimes you just know the audition went well.
One who channels spirits is said to receive messages through the filter of their own waking consciousness, otherwise known as what? Their lower self? Their higher self? Their haunted self? Their elevated self?
Higher self?
That is correct. It is their higher self. It is not their haunted self. Which of the following terms best describes the small table or space where a medium displays their sacred objects? The podium, the altar, the davenport, the desk.
Altar?
Yeah, I want to say altar.
It is altar. It is their altar.
God, I haven't heard davenport in a long time.
Put it on the davenport.
Take it off the davenport and get out. Which of the following religious belief systems is not closely associated with the practice of psychic mediumship? Shamanism, Spiritism, Voodoo, Mormonism.
Mormonism.
That is correct.
Joseph Smith had some weird psychic thoughts that they don't want to talk about.
Very true. This is, no multiple choice here. Just use what you got in your brain. What does ESP stand for?
Extrasensory perception.
Especially sensitive
people. Extrasensory perception.
Damn.
Is correct.
Jeez, okay.
I did my Miss Cleo research.
Long Island medium over here.
Got a 2-word answer phrase here. Spiritualists classify the various types of mediumship into 2 main categories. Material and physical, mental and paranormal, emotional and verbal, mental and physical.
Mental and paranormal, I think.
Yeah.
Incorrect.
Oh.
Most spiritualists classify the types of mediumship into 2 primary categories, mental and physical.
Oh.
Something that gets your body going, something that gets your mind going, something that stimulates you mentally and stimulates you physically.
Cocaine.
Exactly. What psychic sense or form of channeling is also known as clear hearing? Is it clairaudience, clairsentience, clairalience, claircognizance?
We're going to say cognizance.
That is incorrect. It is clairaudience or clear hearing.
Ray, based on your psychic ability, how many more are we going to lose?
I don't know, but I was told I was going to have a really bad July, and now it's making sense.
It's fucking October.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Which of the following terms best describes an intense intuitive feeling that something substantial is about to happen? insight, sixth sense, premonition, presence.
You got a sixth sense.
Sixth sense.
Incorrect. An intense intuitive feeling that something important is called a premonition.
Premonition.
Which of the following people is not a well-known psychic medium? Todd Chrisley, John Edward, Sylvia Browne, Tyler Henry.
Chrisley knows best. Was not a medium.
Todd Chrisley was not a medium. Todd Chrisley was a self-made millionaire and successful entrepreneur.
I love Todd Chrisley.
What psychic sense or form of channeling is also known as clear sensing or psychometry? Claircognizance, clairgustance, clairalience, clairsentience, clairstarlings.
Clairsentient? The second to last one.
Clairsentience, you say?
Yeah.
Clairsentience is correct. That is also known as psychometry or clear sensing. Which of the following is not a widely recognized or official application of psychic powers? Not widely recognized or official appliance. Psychic archaeology, psychic detectives, psychic zoology, psychic surgery.
What is not? Hopefully psychic surgery.
I was going to say archaeology. Archaeology.
Incorrect. Many mediums claim to be pet psychics that are capable of communicating with the animal kingdom, but there's no formal application to the field of zoology. So save your money. Don't try and talk to Fido. He's gone. Why didn't you feed him better? Many psychic mediums read the blank records in order to gather information on the past, present, and future. The clairvoyant records, the Sanskrit records, the Akashic records, the Jungian records.
I'm going to say Akashic.
You're correct, man.
What is it, Akashic?
Yeah, remember there was that Akashi bookstore in Thousand Oaks and your parents never wanted you to go into it because they're like, ooh, that's like the voodoo place.
I don't remember that.
Oh, maybe that was just my family. Sorry.
What widely known spiritual channeler claims to channel the spirit of Ramtha, a 30,000-year-old reputed entity? Is it Joe Dispenza, Jay-Z Knight, Linda Evans, or Greg Braden?
I think Linda Evans.
Yeah, Linda Evans.
That sounds like something she would say. And I tell you what, you're wrong. It's Jay-Z Knight.
Oh.
Jay-Z Knight, widely known as American channeler, New Age teacher, and author who claims to channel the 30,000-year-old spirit.
And husband of Beyonce.
And successful husband of Beyonce. Spiritism is the belief that the living are capable of communicating with the spirits of the departed. What French educator coined the term spiritism around 1860? Was it old Alan Kardec, Chico Xavier, Emma Harding Britton, or Andre Louise?
Andre Louise.
That man did not do it. It was Alan Kardec, French educator.
Alan Carr.
Alan
It was
Carr?
Alan Carr. What musical instrument is often utilized by psychic mediums to amplify the signals between the physical and spirit worlds? Is that a clarinet, an oboe, a trumpet, or a guitar?
I'm leaning to clarinet or oboe.
I was going to say clairvoyant uses a clarinet.
That's a good way to justify it. Unfortunately, it's not. During direct voice communication, a medium will facilitate a form of spiritual phenomenon rather than create it. Trumpets are frequently used.
Really?
That's silly. I would have guessed triangle. You hear that a lot.
Yes.
It's like a ding.
Or like a xylophone.
Yeah, something.
If you were a spirit and you're like, oh, I think I'm going to come back, would you want to hear?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
I'd
like,
be scared. I'd run away.
Oh, great. Satchmo's trying to call me back.
Who's haunting who? And lastly, around the late 1800s, two fraudulent spiritualist mediums from Chicago made a living by painting, quote, spirit portraits. These two women were widely known as the Blank Sisters, the Spirit Sisters, the Fangs Sisters, Space Sisters, or Bangs Sisters.
The Spirit Sisters? Spirit Sisters.
Yeah. Spirit Sisters is incorrect. They're known
Banger
as
Sisters.
the Bang Sisters. Mary May E. Bangs and Elizabeth Lizzie Snow Bangs were
She
a fraudulent
bangs.
duo.
She bangs.
She bangs, she bangs, she takes your money.
And promises you nothing. Have you ever used a psychic?
No, I did not. A friend of mine does tarot cards, though. I've never used a psychic, but friends have done readings on me in like party settings.
Mm-hmm.
And it's left me feeling good. You know, I don't have really an account of it, but I think that's the good thing about it. People go into it wanting to leave feeling good, and I think that's what it does. It gives you optimism about your future, if not clarity. It gives you a positive outlook and the feeling that maybe success is coming your way, and I think that's what they're good for.
A psychic told me one time that I was going to live in a state with palm trees. I was living in California and still live in California.
That's insane. So it's basically saying right now you are in California.
Yeah,
That's all that's like.
yeah, exactly. But I walked away going like, okay.
I went to a psychic once to have my my cards read. The psychic was literally maybe like shaved head, 300 pounds, and was sitting there eating fried chicken. And he said, "Hello, come in. I'm your spiritual guide. Let me wipe my chicken grease off." I swear to God. And he proceeded to tell me about my future.
No.
Uh-oh, you got the 3 heads. Oh, sorry, it's the 2 heads. That was a chicken piece.
Much better, brother.
Yeah, okay, that's a lot better.
Friends, if you remember Miss Cleo, or if you called Miss Cleo, give us a call. Let us know what you thought. You can call us at 805. No. You can Facebook us, Instagram us, tweet us. Let us know, did you talk to Miss Cleo? Do you believe in the power of Miss Cleo? And did she ever read your cards? And how much did that end up costing you? All right, friends, till next time.
See ya.
Thanks for listening to This Was a Thing, and a big thanks to the folks that keep this show running. Our editor, Daniel Cut Schwartzberg, our composer, Billy Better Than DC Reese, our social media director, Gabe #Crawford, our graphic designer, Natalie's Nothing's Too Graphic DeSavia, and finally, our games coordinator, Mark the Shark Schroeder. If you liked what we did today, make sure to head on over to iTunes to rate and review us. The more stars you leave us, the more love we feel. Hey, speaking of love, show us some social media love. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at This Was a Thing Pod, and Facebook we are This Was a Thing Podcast. Reach out. We'd love to hear from you. And if you really liked what we did today, head on over to patreon.com and become one of our sponsors, and you'll get access to special episodes, interviews, and merch. That's Patreon. Search This Was a Thing and support us so we can keep doing this show.